This video contains spoilers for the Endwalker's main quest. Please watch only if you don't mind. The video will start after 10 counts.
"星の意志として最後の古き人としてあなたたちの勝ち得た強さを見定めましょう。
I'll explain the basic mechanics in advance. Crystallize, which uses an elemental attack, and Dome Mantle to change weapons. These two mechanics will appear in combination here, and they are basic parts. The first is this Crystallize. When the chanting of Crystallize finishes, an elemental effect appears around the boss. This time it's water. Then depending on the element, the effect will be activated after the next attack. If the element is water, the effects are stacks taken by two light party targeting the healer. Let's divide into two teams. The main tank team and the off-tank team. The second element is ice. A shimmering ice effect appears around the boss. A small AoE will land on everyone, so just spread out and catch it. The last element is earth. Some kind of rock-like effect goes around the boss. The effect is spray damage against one random person. Let's stack together to share the damage. And the next mechanic is Dome Mantle. There are three types of mantle: the red K-Cam, the green staff, and the blue sword. Dome Mantle displays weapon effects around the boss and buffs the boss with a weapon symbol. Now, simply remember that the AoE of weapon attacks will change. The red K-Cam is a donut-shaped AoE, and under the boss's feet is a safe spot. The green staff is an AoE around the boss. Stay away from the boss to avoid it. The blue sword is a cross-shaped AoE. The boss's diagonal direction is a safe spot. So let's get started. The Minstrel's Ballad, Hydaelyn's Call. The two extreme contents are Zodiac and Hydaelyn, which is a very exciting. Heroes is Radiance. This is a huge rate-wide AoE. Any attack with Radiance in its name is a rate-wide AoE. Shining Saber. This is a spray damage from jumping the target's healers. Let's stack together to share the damage. And now the boss is going to use Crystallize. The first time, the element is always water. The effects are stacks taken by two groups. But first, you need to identify the boss's weapon. Stack, get away from the boss. And after this AoE, Crystallize will be activated. As usual, let's divide into main tank team in the west and off-tank team in the east. Madras is Radiance. This is a rate-wide AoE that is used when the boss's weapon is a staff. The safe spot for the next attack is a vertical or horizontal choice. In the case of Oreo, the front and back are cut off so the side becomes a safe spot. I'll show you the other one later. Crystallize. The second element is always ice, which you need to spread out. And the second Dome Mantle. This time, the staff and the K-Cam, whichever was not used in the first time, will be used. K-Cam, so the AoE is donut-shaped. Then, spread out. Okay. Moor's Cone. This is a stack for two tanks that is used during K-Cam. Use box and take it in two. Next, two choice attack again. Lateral Oreo. The sides are cut off so this time the vertical Oreo becomes a safe spot. Okay, and that's the end of the K-Cam timeline. Crystallize. It's either water or earth here. Earth, spray damage to be shared by all. In addition, since the weapon is fixed to the assault, I am already backing up diagonally. And assemble at the back of the boss. This is the end of the first half.
光のクリスタルよ、ここに。
Next is the DPS Check Phase. Here, you need to defeat 6 crystals and 2 mobs before the boss's gauge fills up. Pause to explain. Now, let me explain how to proceed with this phase. First of all, if you leave the 6 crystals, they will accumulate more and more of the boss's gauge. Of the crystals, the 3 in the north or the 3 in the south are shining. This time, the southern crystals are shining. These shining crystals accumulate the gauge very fast, so you need to destroy them first. Next, let's talk about the 2 mobs. They are connected to nearby crystals by lines, and the connected crystals become very hard and unbreakable. So, the tank can leave them far away, while the dubs can break the crystals that are not attached to the lines. However, if mobs are brought closer together, they will be connected by a line and their attack power will be enhanced. There are several induction methods based on the above. But here I would like to introduce the Hydaelyn method that is popular in the Japanese community. Thank you, Haruka-san. First, here is the initial position. DPS will set up in the west, main tank will catch mobs in the west, and off tank will catch mobs in the east. Then, the main tank will lead the mob to the northeast, and the off tank to the southeast. If we guide them in this way, mobs will be connected to the nearest 2 crystals only by a line, freeing the crystals near the DPS. And the crystals shining either the north or south. This time it's south. In this case, the dubs should go from west to south. In other words, the dubs should destroy the crystal counterclockwise. After that, the tanks should keep watching the dubs and keep rotating. Okay, let's see it in action. This time our direction of rotation is counterclockwise, as the southern crystals are shining. As you can see, the first crystal is quickly broken, so it looks like the tank is good to go for a quick spin. The mobs are now connected to each other by a line. This isn't very good, but it only hurts the attack a little, so just pull them off quickly, and you're good to go. As a matter of fact, it's not much of a problem to put mobs together. When you break the crystal, mob's hit point will also decrease. Once all the crystals are destroyed, there is almost no hit point left for mobs. Okay, then let's kill the mobs. This completes the Dps Check Phase. Now let's see the real hiding kick. After all, a real hiding kick is wonderful. It would have been easy for her to divide the zodiac into 14 parts. Halo. Wait, why they AoE? Light Wave. This is the main mechanic of the second half of the game. First of all, please have a look at the flow. Crystals appeared on the stage, and waves of light were coming from outside the stage. When the wave touches it, the crystal explodes. Hide behind the crystal to avoid these explosions. Infrared arc. The boss will unleash a fun-shaped AoE 3 times in total, 1 for each roll. Gather behind the crystals in TD and H groups. Okay, so let's look back. Light Wave is a mechanic that avoids waves coming from outside the field and crystal explosions. Stop! 2 waves coming up from the north, right? These waves are traveling in the center and east columns this time, but they may also travel in the center and west. This time, the safe spot is to the west, but if the wave pattern is reversed, our movements will also be reversed, so be careful. First, hide behind the crystals in the safe spot. The first crystal to explode is this one. So, hide above the line connecting the two crystals. The next one is a little hard to see, but here it is. After a time delay, this crystal will touch the wave and explode, so next time you need to move to hide from the explosion. Let's see it in action. The first explosion. Move immediately. Okay. Stop again. After these two things happen almost simultaneously. One is Infrarock, a series of 3 fun-shaped toys that the boss uses. This area will fire, once each against TD and H. And here's the other one. There is another crystal to the south that explodes when it hits the waves, but it is not on the screen now. In order to deal with both of these at the same time, we need to split up into 3 groups and hide behind the crystal, while receiving the Infrarock. The positioning in this case should follow the macro, but in my surroundings, the following positioning is common. The heroes will stay here. DPS to the north. Tanks to the other side. So let's actually try it. Watch out for the crystal explosion to the south. Explosion. First. Second. Third. That's it. Oops, there's another light wave coming. Okay, we'll keep an eye on the full game. Crystals and light waves again. Heroes is glory. Wide AoE in front of the bus. The bus is always facing south at this time. And the first crystal exploded. Second. Third. Fourth. The last, another forward racing will come, so hide behind the crystal behind the bus. Okay. This is done. Okay, let's look at the details. However, the parts of the mechanics are the same as before. So all we have to do is to dodge the right way. Avoid this forward 180-degree AoE to the nose. Stop. There's a wave coming east and west. These waves will come from the east and west columns are fixed, but which one will come first is random. This time, the west wave came first. That means the explosions will start from the northwest crystal. All you have to do is use the crystal in the center and avoid the explosion in order. Resume video. The first, northwest. Okay, second one is northeast. Okay, the third one is southwest, keep going around the back of the crystal. Okay, fourth one is southeast. Last, the bus will warp and use a forward AoE. And at about the same time, the crystal in the center that you've been using to hide will explode. Hide behind the crystal on the back side of the bus to get through this. Okay. Halo. Wide AoE. Mitigation and heal. Okay. Heroes is thundering. This is a fun-shaped toy that targets the hilltop. Do not stand on the main tank side. Shining Saber. Stuck from jumping, targeting the healer. Get together and share the damage. Okay. Then, the boss changes the weapon to Kekem or staff. This time it was Kekem. Now let me explain the Kekem timeline. The donut-shaped alley and the 2 tank stack. The timeline is the same as in the first half of the game. Lure are the goddesses of Greek mythology. In English, it would be Muse. And the following Pagian is the mechanics of the Kekem timeline. Pagian. You should see the flow first. The boss throws Kekems in 3 directions. First. Second. Third. The Kekems will stay outside the field and come back after this. Gather between the first and second Kekems and deal with the water crystallize. Spread into 2 like parties and stand next to the first Kekems. Run into the trail. Almost okay. So let's slow down and review. Hydaelyn. Keep a careful eye on the order of the alley here. You need to move between the first and second pitches. Also remember the location of the first pitch, as we will run into the trails. At this time, the bus is casting the water crystallize. As usual, it's fine to divide the party into MT team on the inside and OT team on the outside. It is also popular to have MT H1 D1, D2 on the inside and OT H2 D3, D4 on the outside so that melee ducks can hit. And as soon as the first pitch of Keikon returns, we all run right into its rail. This is what the AoE looks like at this time. The two melee guys have been run over. Inside this line is almost a safe spot. For melee, please refer to this image to understand the alley. I guess you can hit the boss from the top of this hexagonal part. The last, if you avoid Oriole's two choices, the Keikon timeline is over. Okay, then don't mantra again, the one that hasn't been used yet out of Keikon stuff. So this time it's a stuff, let's get away. The next one, Madras' Radiance is the same as the first half. It's great wide AoE. Okay. Crystallize. It's always ice, here. This ice crystallize will be activated immediately after the next FFXIV. FFXIV, the end of the yellow line will explode, so try to spread out away from it. Since there is one tempo before the ice impacts, let's spread out to the location determined by the macro. Ariel. This time, the side is a safe spot. Okay. After this, the weapon will be changed to a sword, for sure. This is a cross-shaped toy, so avoid it at an angle. Okay. This is the end of the weapon mechanics for the second half of the game. Now it's time for the end game. Radiant Halo. Wide AoE. After this there will be two lightweight mechanics, and then the boss will use some skills, and then time will be up. Light wave. 4 waves are advancing from east-west, north and south. There is one place where the space between the waves is wide, so we move there first. Here. After this, we will use here to handle continuous stacks, and AoE that need to be spread out. Echoes. This is 5 consecutive spray damage. Stack in one place and use mitigation and barriers properly. A lot of markers will appear during echoes, so try to spread out after you have received those echoes. Okay. Now let's review the details. Let's start with echoes. After this, you need to take a small Sakura AoE in addition to the stacks, so use barriers and mitigations heavily. Echoes is 5 consecutive stacks, but after the third shot, the next markers will be shown before echoes is over. Here, the tanks get a 2-person stack, and the rest of the party gets a small AoE markers. The most important thing is not to panic and spread out because of the appearance of various markers. At this point you still have 2 echo stacks left. Make sure you count to the 5th shot before spreading out. The 2 tanks stay in front of the boss and take the 2-man stack. The positioning of the rest of the party is somewhat improvised. But healers should be under the boss, melees should be near the boss, and ranges should be far away from the boss. Then let's continue. Be careful of the waves. Well, that's about this. Okay. After this, the waves come from all directions again, but the center of the field is always a safe spot. This is the end of this mechanics. Now look at this. This is a video of my failure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, spread out. Did you understand?
4, 5, spread out.
So please be careful when you use a fling shot. crystallize. It's always water here. Be sure to check the directions and markers. Shining Saber. Jump on the healer and stack. Immediately after that, the water crystallize will be activated. There are really a lot of accidents here, so you have to be careful. The cause of the accidents is that the positioning of the two light parties here is ambiguous. Some people base it on the direction of the field, some on the direction of the boss before jumping, and some on the direction of the boss after jumping. In recent Japanese communities, they often place 1 and 2 markers on the field and divide into them. Weapon change Keikan, do not share Teoi. The weapon here is Keikan or staff at random. So, after this it's lightweight mechanics once again. This video ends in the middle, so I'll mention the rest. Light wave is the same as before, but Shining Saber and Water Crystallize have been replaced with Aerial and Ice Crystallize. Please pay attention to the direction when the Ice Crystallize. If you get to that point, you are close to running out of time. We are almost done. Let's just push it through. Thank you for your time. This concludes the explanation. This video is an English translation of a guide video I made for the Japanese community. If you find anything wrong with the translation or explanation, please point it out in the comments. Also, if you like it, please give it a high rating and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye!